every day you're having side effects to the breast cancer every day, but I just pushed through it. In 2013, I was having issues with my breast. And when I went to have my mammogram, and I mentioned it, they did additional views, but they think everything looked okay. But they sent me to a surgeon because it had stopped for a little bit. And in 2014, I remember I was in Jamaica, and I was in the shower and discovered it's bleeding again. And then at that point, they decided to do a biopsy. And I'll never forget, then they sent the results to the surgeon that had did the procedure before, and he was just beside himself. He didn't say it, but I think he was probably thinking that he missed it, but which he's still a great surgeon. It was malignant. And actually, they did not even find the mass on the mammogram nor the ultrasound. I actually had an MRI done, and that's when they seen it. I had my surgery, went to see the oncologist, and I did have to do radiation. I didn't have to do chemo in the IV form because it was not that aggressive. So I just had to do the chemo pill, which I took that for 5 years. I am 7-year survivor as of this month. And I tell women all the time, you have to know your body and then listen to your body.
Well, it's been very educational in terms of me as a husband having to do a lot of research to get a better perspective of what it means to support somebody who has dealt with the word cancer. And you do learn that there's a bunch of side effects that happens from the treatments, from the recovery portion of it, and you learn there is really no timeline for recovery. And so you have to, I guess an old army saying is you have to adapt and overcome. And so you have to continuously be flexible, and I think that's really the journey that I'm on, is really learning how to be flexible, because it's a very fluid situation. There really is not a timeline for it.
And I will say, so when they do testing of the tumor itself, it lets you know whether it was pretty much, if it was fed on hormones, which mine was. It was estrogen positive. So with that, I had to take the medication to suppress more hormones. And as a woman and men, women run off of estrogen, men run off of testosterone. So having that component not in your body, it's a daily struggle, because sometimes I could just go off of adrenaline, but then when I stop. It's just some days I would come home from work and be like, I am tired. He would be like, well, go to bed. But it's a daily thing, and I think it is. And I will say, and I've shared before, I mean, my husband's amazing because he read up on those side effects before I did. So when we were able to sit down and talk about it, he already knew because he had already searched it.
The word cancer used to be a death sentence back in the day. But now in 2021, it's not a death sentence. And I think the most important thing that I learned from my research is that you can get some bad news, but bad news doesn't mean the end news. And so you can make bad news into good news, but you can't make end news into anything. And so if you have the wrong perspective on the situation, you're going to use the wrong tools, and you won't fight for recovery or whatever life you have. And that's really the thing that you get from information. And it's an ongoing thing. I mean, one, you got to have faith. You got to believe that God will get you through any situation, and that He didn't bring you this far to leave you. You have to know that in your own spirit. So I think collectively as a couple, we try to really engage in our faith and our worship, be active participants in church, and you surround yourself with people who support you too. You know, you got to have somebody who you can vent to, who doesn't judge you. Um, I would say this as a supporter of somebody who has cancer. I think one of the hardest things about being a supporter, there really is not a support group for you like a cancer survivor is, and so you have to be willing to search for uh, support people who you trust, and you just kind of go from there. Really, there is no right or wrong answer. It's just something you have to definitely have faith and continue with that.
Well, I am in a support group. It's KAC, which is Kentucky African Americans Against Cancer. You know, we have meetings once a month. Uh, Now we've been doing it via Zoom. So just being in the room with people that look like me, uh, and just being able to talk to someone that not only looks like me but have been or is going through the same thing that I'm going through, and then to see women that have been survivors 20 plus years, then that that gave me, um, I don't want to say courage. It just gave me a better outlook on it, saying that okay, she went, 20. I'm gonna get to 20. I just kind of speak it. I just speak it out there, and then to see women that um, have struggled. Well, I have this one friend. She went through it 3 times, and she smiled through the whole time. Every time I seen her, she was with a smile, and just to know that um, you can make it, and and I'll tell anyone that is going through it. It was to me. It's like God gave this to me, not just to keep to myself. So every chance I get to share that, even that I'm a survivor, then I'm doing what God has called me to do, and that is to share.
Life is always constantly changing, and if you don't have a support system or a faith system that allows you to understand that there will be trials and tribulations, and you have to count it all joy, then you won't understand that your attitude really propels everything that you do. And so we choose life. And one of the great things about um, following Christ and being a Christian is that He gives you a perspective that allows you to understand that He gives you life. He came so you can live and have life more abundantly. And so you have to find what abundantly really means to you. And so it's a constant search, and it takes courage to live a certain kind of way. And so we try to promote here to live life to the fullest.
If you stay positive and look at it, it's like, okay, I got one day down. I'm ready for the next. It's just your whole attitude just says a lot. Because if you're gonna go in it like woe is me, then that's how you're gonna feel, and that's how you're gonna live the whole journey.
And finally, you can't be afraid about dying, because we all gonna die. So you have to worry about living.